So 2020 is almost finally over, and most people consider this time of year the holiday season. However, me as a YouTuber, I consider it more of list season, and we're continuing on with list season with a brand new top 10 list. You know, these sorts of videos are always so much fun for me to make because it gives me a chance to look back over the entire year at all the sneaker releases, whether they're good releases or bad releases. Make sure to stay tuned for that top 10 worst sneakers of 2020 list because that video is going to be a doozy, but it always blows my mind how many sneakers every year that these brands are releasing. I mean, it's nuts, and a lot of these silhouettes I completely forget have even dropped. So today we're going to take a look at one of those big sneaker brands and find out what their top 10 best sneakers of the year were. What's up everybody, I'm Seth Fowler, and today we're counting down the top 10 best Adidas sneakers of 2020. Thanks so much for tuning in today. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and notification bell down below if you haven't yet, and also make sure to give me a follow on Instagram and on Twitter at @RealSethFowler. So my original plan for this month was to release a bunch of different top 10 videos that would eventually lead up to the top 10 sneakers of the year, and so far I've only released the top 10 Nike sneakers of the year, the top 10 Air Jordans of the year, and today is the top 10 Adidas sneakers of the year. But there are so many other brands that I wanted to cover, like New Balance, which to be fair I did actually do a video of a couple months ago, but it's a little out of date, so I would have liked to have redone that, and also Puma, and also possibly some other like miscellaneous brands, but unfortunately I just wasn't able to get it done in time, and so this is going to be one of the last big top 10 videos before we actually get to the top 10 sneakers of the year. But I feel like ending on Adidas is probably a good thing because Adidas has had so many good silhouettes drop this year that it's going to be a really solid list. So just to give you an idea of how I made this list, in order for a sneaker to make it onto the list, it had to be a brand new silhouette for 2020. I'm not including multiple colorways of the same silhouette on this list, and I'm also not including new colorways of older silhouettes. It's just brand new shoes that released in 2020. But even with those restrictions, Adidas released so many sneakers over 2020 that it was still hard to actually get this list down to just the top 10. This list is all my own personal opinion. I made the list because I like certain shoes over certain shoes. It doesn't mean that those shoes are better than the other shoes overall, it just means that I personally like them better. So with all of that out of the way, let's jump right into the top 10 best Adidas sneakers of 2020. Starting things off at number 10, we've got the DON Issue 2. The DON Issue 2 is Donovan Mitchell's second signature sneaker with Adidas. And like the Issue 1, the DON Issue 2 still maintains its comic book naming scheme. Now I'm not 100% sure about this, but I think this sort of like starburst pattern on the midfoot of the shoe is supposed to represent like the BAM icon in a comic book. I don't know for sure, I'm just making a guess, but it really wouldn't surprise me. This performance basketball sneaker comes with a full-length bounce cushion in the midsole, which means it's relatively soft underfoot. It's nowhere near as soft as Boost, but bounce is a little bit more stable, which I think some basketball players prefer. In addition to that, the shoe features a lightweight mesh upper that allows for some breathability, and fit-wise, your foot is locked into place with the internal booty construction. Aesthetically, what I like about this shoe is a sort of retro-styled midsole, which reminds me a lot of 1980s and 1990s Adidas basketball sneakers. The upper itself is also pretty clean, and it comes in a ton of different colorways, so no matter what colors you like or what colors your team are, you can grab that colorway with pretty much no issue. But in my opinion, the best part about this sneaker is the fact that this shoe is so budget friendly. The Adidas DON Issue 2 comes in at a retail price of just $100, which to be honest seems like a really good deal for a shoe that's as good as the DON Issue 2. Coming in at number 9 is the Adidas Climacool Vento. This sneaker is specifically designed for summer and warmer months, and the reason for that is because this shoe is very well vented, hence the name Climacool Vento. Not a great name, I'm not gonna lie to you guys about that, but the shoe is actually pretty solid. But the reason that I decided to put the Climacool Vento on the list over some other Climacool sneakers is because I feel like the Vento is the best looking Climacool sneaker ever. Not only that, it's also a very unique looking sneaker because it features this odd sort of segmented Boost midsole. Now to be 100% with you guys, I'm not sure exactly why they decided to segment it. I don't think it adds too much more flexibility, and also flexibility isn't really the point of this shoe. Personally, I feel like it was purely an aesthetic choice, and the slits on the midsole are supposed to line up with the slits on the side of the sneaker. That said, I do think it gives the shoe a super cool and unique look, and it definitely has some futuristic vibes, which I'm definitely into. Even though it's got a segmented midsole, it's still crazy thick Boost, which means it's still incredibly comfortable underfoot. So while this shoe might not make the most sense to rock right now, it's definitely a good sneaker to rock for summer, and I'm excited to see what they do with this silhouette next year. At number 8 is the Adidas Dame 7. As you probably could have guessed, this is Damian Lillard's 7th signature sneaker with Adidas. And to be honest, I think it's one of the best looking Dame Adidas sneakers that have dropped so far. The shoe comes with a textile upper that usually features some sort of graphic, you've also got this really cool sort of linear stripe pattern on the upper, which is definitely a nice touch. What I really like about that linear detail on the side of the shoe is that I don't think it's just aesthetic, I think it's also a little bit functional and provides some lateral containment. The Adidas Dame 7 comes with a light strike cushioned midsole, which is pretty soft underfoot and also, as the name would suggest, very light. And it's an all-around really solid basketball performance shoe, and it's just a really good looking sneaker. And I know the price point of this shoe at $110 is pretty similar to that of the DON issue 2s, and you're like, why is the shoe a little bit higher on the list even though they're very similar sneakers? Honestly, the reason that I put this shoe ahead of the other shoe is just because I feel like it looks better. Nothing against Donovan Mitchell, I just think Dame's 7th signature sneaker is the better looking shoe. Coming in at number 7, we've got the Adidas Ultra 4D. Now this shoe is a personal favorite of mine, and that's because it combines two of my favorite Adidas sneakers of all time. The upper of the shoe is taken from the Adidas Ultra Boost 1.0 and features this incredible prime knit makeup. The midsole and outsole of the shoe is taken from the Adidas Futurecraft and is actually 3D printed, which I think is so cool. And combined, I think they make the perfect Adidas 4D shoe. In fact, if they had released these shoes back in 2017 or 2018, this shoe would have flown off shelves. It would have been a crazy release. Unfortunately, the hype has died down on 4D sneakers and Ultra Boost for that matter, so because of that, the shoe is still pretty readily available. Which, I guess to be fair, is a good thing because it allows more people who want this shoe to be able to actually go out to the store and grab one of these shoes for themselves. Now personally, I don't think 4D is that comfortable. It's definitely not uncomfortable, but I do think there's a lot of room for growth within 4D's development. However, it does look awesome, and that's really a big reason why a lot of these shoes made the list. While 4D might not be the future of Adidas, it definitely shows us a cool insight into what the future could be like if 3D printing really takes over the way that I think a lot of people think that it will. Probably could have found a better way to say that. Plus, any shoe that features an Ultra Boost 1.0 upper is a really good looking shoe in my opinion. At number 6 is the Adidas ZX2K Boost. This shoe is a really cool reimagining of a classic Adidas sneaker. My favorite part about this shoe is the retro running aesthetic, and I think that's really what Adidas has been going for recently. The ZX2K Boost took the classic 1990s running sneaker vibe and just threw a bunch of boost at it. Now I do have to say that the upper is not as comfortable as I think it could be, and that's because they're going for that more retro vibe and they use textiles on the upper rather than knits, but it's still a very comfortable shoe. While the shoe is heavily inspired by retro running models, it's not actually a running sneaker. In fact, it's just a lifestyle shoe. It does, however, check all the boxes of a lifestyle sneaker. It's good looking, it's comfortable, and it's not too expensive. And because Adidas is pushing this shoe as one of their flagship models, I think there's gonna be a lot of colorways for you to choose from in the future. At a very fitting number 5, we've got the Adidas Ultra Boost 5.0. This shoe is the latest in the Adidas Ultra Boost DNA line, which is sort of their retro line. I mean, retro definitely has some quotation marks about it because the shoe first released in 2015, but it's what Adidas is now calling their more lifestyle Ultra Boost. It's actually also kind of interesting to me that they're still creating DNA models of the Ultra Boost and not just continuing pushing the performance models, because I feel like the 1.0 and 2.0 are really the most popular. Why make even more versions? I don't know, I'm not complaining, I'm just wondering why they decided to do it. The Adidas Ultra Boost 5.0 is a slightly newer take on the original Ultra Boost silhouette, and the main difference between this shoe and any of the previous Ultra Boosts is the fact that they switched out Prime Knit for Prime Blue. And as you probably could have guessed, the materials that make up this knit are recycled ocean plastics because Adidas works very heavily with Parley for the oceans. Other than that though, and also the fact that the shoe has a slightly different Prime Knit pattern, the shoe does seem to be very similar to previous Ultra Boosts. But as I'm sure a lot of you guys know, the original Ultra Boost is one of my favorite sneakers of all time, so I'm not complaining. Coming in at number 4 is the Adidas Yeezy Quantum. So the Quantum is the very first Yeezy performance basketball sneaker. And I've got to say, it's a really interesting mix between the Yeezy design aesthetic and functional performance basketball sneakers. Now I wouldn't say this shoe is ugly, but it's definitely not the most conventionally attractive basketball sneaker ever made. This shoe first released in Chicago around All-Star Weekend and had wider releases throughout the year, and since then it's become one of the most popular sneakers to release in 2020. Now the reason for that is obviously because it's a Yeezy sneaker, but I also like the futuristic look that this sneaker features. The upper comes in a knit material that's also encased by an RPU cage around the midfoot of the sneaker, which should allow for some containment on your foot and also makes the shoe a little bit more durable. In addition to that, you've also got a full-length Boost midsole, which isn't that thick and you can't feel it too well underneath your foot, but it still definitely adds to some cushion, especially if you're a heavier guy and you're landing after catching a ball. However, even though the shoe was specifically designed for performance basketball, it's actually been banned by the NBA because of the amount of 3M or reflective material on the shoe, which is definitely surprising to me that they haven't just made a PE version of this sneaker yet that doesn't have any reflective material. From my experience with the shoe, it's not the best fitting shoe in the world, which I guess isn't really a good thing for a performance basketball sneaker, sneaker. But with that being said, because the Quantum had such a crazy impact on sneaker culture, I think it definitely deserves a place on this list. At number 3, we've got the Adidas Tokyo Solar Hue. So Adidas actually was kind enough to send me a pair of these a couple days ago, and if you guys haven't seen that unboxing, you should definitely check it out, and I will leave a link at the top of the screen. Not sure exactly where the link's gonna be, but it's gonna be up there somewhere. For the last couple years, I feel like the Pharrell line just wasn't as good as it was in the past, and I don't think that's because it wasn't as hyped. I think that they just weren't taking as many risks with it as they used to be. In 2020 though, I feel like Pharrell and Adidas have really stepped things up and are creating awesome shoes again. And in my opinion, this Pharrell Adidas Nigo collaboration is by far the best thing that they've released this year. The Adidas Tokyo Solar Hue is a really cool mashup of the Adidas Solar Hue and the Adidas Tokyo. If you don't know, like I didn't know a couple minutes ago before I did some research on the shoe, the Adidas Tokyo was actually a shoe that first released in 1964 for the Tokyo Olympics. And now they're re-releasing in a way in 2020 with a really great Boost midsole. But the reason that I like this shoe so much isn't just because it's a good looking silhouette, it's also because the colorways that they have put on this sneaker all just seem to work so well. In particular, that very first colorway that dropped, it comes with a mint upper and this really great orange midsole. It's just an incredible looking sneaker, and it's just a mashup of colors that you wouldn't think would work together. But somehow they do, and it makes a sneaker that's not only unique, but also really good looking. Like I said before, I feel like Adidas and Pharrell have really found their stride in 2020, and I'm so excited to see what they do in 2021. At number 2, we've got a shoe that I know a lot of you guys hate, but I'm obsessed with, and that's the Adidas Yeezy Foam Runner. This shoe is definitely an acquired taste, but it's one that absolutely grows on you. It's funny that I say that because it actually looks like the shoe could literally grow on you, because it looks like it's something that's alive, or some sort of diseased shellfish. But the reason I think this shoe is so special is because of how unique and how different it is. I don't find this shoe overwhelmingly attractive. I think it's cool. I mean, I'm into the aesthetic, but I don't think it's the prettiest shoe. But the futuristic, crazy looks aside, the shoe itself is actually a really great shoe. I'm not 100% sure about this, but I believe the shoe is actually made up of a mix between EVA and algae-grown foam, which is crazy in and of itself, but it also means that the shoe is somewhat sustainable, which I think is even cooler. Not only that, but the foam runner is incredibly comfortable underfoot and insanely durable. I've said this a million times, but I've worn this shoe almost every other day, and it still looks almost as new as it did when it came out of the box, which is insane. There's something about the way that the foam is made that makes it incredibly soft, but also just really resistant to any kind of wear. It's almost alien-like. Everything about this shoe is just crazy to me. It's crazy looking, it's crazy comfortable, and the price is kind of crazy too. It's just 75 bucks. Granted, you probably can't get a pair at 75 bucks because resale is insane, but if you are able to grab this shoe at retail, you're gonna grab it for a great price. Whether you like the way the shoe looks or not, it's definitely a shoe that you should try out. And then finally, rounding off the list at number 1, we've got the Adidas Ultra Boost 20. The fact that this shoe is number 1 on the list is probably no surprise to anybody, especially if you've been watching my channel for a while. The Ultra Boost line is just one of the most unfailingly consistent lines of sneakers I've ever seen. Somehow, every year, Adidas seems to make the Ultra Boost even better. They make it more comfortable, they make it more durable, they make it more stable. It just becomes a better sneaker every single year. And while no, I don't think the newer performance-driven Ultra Boosts are as good looking as the DNAs, I think that it's important that they continue to innovate on performance aspects of the shoe. And I feel like they took everything about the 19 that wasn't that great and just made it so much better on the 20, and because of that, it's just an all-around excellent shoe. Whether you're running in the shoe or whether you're just grabbing the shoe for a lifestyle everyday wear, it's definitely a shoe that's worth picking up, especially on sale. It's got an incredibly comfortable prime knit upper as well as a Boost midsole that apparently includes 20% more boost than the original Ultra Boost, which is always a good thing. And the shoe fits like a glove. It's one of those shoes you can throw on and forget that you're wearing it in like 10 minutes. No, it's not the most exciting pick at number 1, but I know if I put the foam runners at number 1, you guys would have lost it, and that's not the reason why I didn't put them at number 1, but it's an all-around excellent shoe, and the reason for this list was to highlight the best shoes of the year, and I genuinely think that the Ultra Boost 20 is one of the best Adidas sneakers of 2020. But with that, we wrap up the top 10 best Adidas sneakers of 2020. Now, I would love to know your favorite Adidas sneakers that dropped this year, so make sure to let me know in the comment section down below. And as always, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe down below if you haven't yet, and I'll see you all in the next one.